Okay, welcome back. I am so excited to have Dr. Jessica Yeager here with us today to talk about some amazing new things that are happening at the Star-Brookdale Clinic. Dr. Yeager, let me first introduce her. She's my buddy. Dr. Yeager is an assistant professor in the Department of the College of Medicine at SUNY-Downstate and in the Division of Infectious Disease. And Dr. Yeager is also the Chief of Service at Star-Brookdale. So thank you so much for taking time to come and talk to us. So I heard that there's some new and exciting stuff going on about treatment over at Star-Brookdale. So we had to have you on. So what's going on? What are you guys doing?
Tanya, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk with you about it. So yeah, we're really excited that we recently were awarded new funding, federal funding through HRSA to support all of our work, really seeking to link people who might be out of care or help find people who may not know that they're living with HIV, link them into medical care and get people really quickly onto therapies, because we know we have these incredible treatments that can let people live normal, healthy lives. So we're trying to find people, get them diagnosed, and link them into care and onto medication as quickly as possible. And that's really the goal of our new project.
So how is this a little different from our approach in the past in terms of identifying new cases, getting them into care, getting them on treatment, and hopefully suppress?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it really dovetails with evaluation of the work that we've been doing for years now. And traditionally in, working with people and treating people who are living with HIV, we've often had them come into clinic, talk to them about medication options, talk to them about side effects, think about medicines. And back many years ago, we actually often waited until people's immune systems started to get a bit weaker before we'd start them on medicines, because the medicines had worse side effects. There were a lot of pills people had to take. And as things have changed, the medications have gotten much easier to tolerate. By and large, the majority of people who are diagnosed now with HIV are able to take just one pill once a day. So as the medicines are easier to take, the side effects have gone way down. The goal is really to get people onto medicine as quickly as possible. So part of the goal with the funding that we just received is to link people in, and there's a new approach that people sometimes call little I, like iPad or iPhone, ART, or Antiretroviral Therapy. And it stands for immediate ART. And so the goal is to get people in the first time we meet them as a medical provider to say, so great to meet you. We're going to do all your blood work and we're going to start medication right away to really start you on that road to, back to reconstituting your immune system and making you as healthy as possible.
Wow, that's great. I learned about IART, immediate antiretroviral therapy. Well, I wanted to also ask, I know that budgets are really strained right this very second. And as a result of the pandemic, and resources for either people at risk or people living with HIV has been limited. So this is a huge thing. You guys have been awarded a grant, which can you share with us how this is huge, congratulations, but also how this is enabling you guys to do the work that you need to do?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for the congratulations. We're very excited. And I will say that, the name of this kind of project, so through federal funding, as I mentioned, and it's referred to as a SPINS project, that stands for Special Project of National Significance. And this is a type of award that the federal government, they tend to put out requests to fund projects like this along a certain theme. So for example, this one was about starting IART when there's evidence that it's an intervention that would really help people. So this has been something, as I mentioned, because the medications are so much better to tolerate, and there's a direction the field has been moving, and now that there's good evidence to support this practice, the government funded it. So, to address your question, how it's going to really let us help people, the funding that we're going to receive will allow us to fund a case manager. So someone dedicated to this project who will work closely with existing staff who are navigators working to link people to care. And this dedicated case manager will really work with people who, as I said, are either newly diagnosed, so have HIV but didn't realize it, or people who have been out of care, and to help work with them to figure out what are the barriers they might be facing to get into care. So is housing an issue? Do they have enough food? Are they food secure? Are there issues with their insurance? So really working with them to get them onto insurance, housed, food. Right now, a lot of people are struggling with homeschooling, all the issues around COVID. So what are the things,
yes.
right? So what are the things for them that are barriers to getting into the clinic, and how can we help them address that so that they can really get onto medicine and take care of themselves and worry about the other things in their life and not worry about their HIV status?
Thank you so much. I know that probably most of our viewers don't think of that as a big deal, but having being able to hire someone in this day and age, and being able to hire someone to be able to do this work, I mean, that is a huge asset. Look, you and I are buddies, and I'm so happy that you sort of went another direction, because for our audience, Dr. Yeager and I are Jedi buddies. And what Jedi stands for is that we are justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion warriors. And I am so honored to include Dr. Yeager as one of my Jedi warriors. You mentioned, a lot of those barriers that are unfortunately common with our patient population in terms of the challenges and how they've been exacerbated or made worse by the COVID pandemic. I'm just wondering if you would maybe share a little bit about how this program will, in essence, maybe address some of these challenges that really mean a lot to you and I.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Tanya. I mean, I think, as you mentioned, having a dedicated case manager to focus on these issues will be tremendously important, because, as I think everyone in the city and the world unfortunately knows, the amount of resources that have had to be allocated for COVID response, that have taken necessary dollars away from other needed services, is really impactful, devastating, and really tremendous. However, there are still a lot of services that are available for people. And New York City, I'll say, has been working very hard to ensure that, for example, people who are food insecure have food access during this time. So I think having, again, a case manager whose sole job is to help people ensure that they're aware of what resources are available to them, no matter what their immigration status, no matter what other barriers they're facing, that someone to help people navigate this incredibly difficult time, as you say, as resources are being stretched and are really more scarce than ever, will be really critical. So to have an ally and a team in the clinic, and to realize you're not alone navigating these issues. We're here to help you with this. We're not here just to be medical providers. We're really here to work and ensure that all of the issues in your life that are impacting your ability to take care of yourself and to live the life you're trying to live, we can help you address those issues.
Awesome. Muting myself in case my kids run in. I think I had one last question for you, and I'm so happy that you mentioned about the fact that resources have been pulled everywhere. I just listened to a webinar with Dr. Fauci talking just about this, about the interruptions in HIV care or with malaria or tuberculosis. I guess my final question, Dr. Yeager, would be, when the second wave hits, how will we be able to, with limited opportunities to have them come into the clinic all the time. Will you use telehealth? Will you use telemedicine to provide support or care? I just wanted to know, because I know that this is really important for our community to keep them safe. They need to come into the clinic sometimes, but maybe not all the time.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we've all had crash courses in so many different things during the time of COVID, and certainly telehealth has been one of them. And I think a lot of us as providers, we get used to doing things how we do them, and it's hard to adopt new techniques and strategies. But, as a medical community, as providers, we've been working really hard to adopt telehealth. And so telehealth lets us do exactly what you and I are doing now, which is great. See each other face to face, have a conversation that feels more real time than just a phone conversation. But there are challenges with telehealth still. Some of our patients and our clients don't necessarily have smartphones. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge to figure out the camera, the mute, the video. It can be a lot. And I've done a lot of telehealth visits with people who their partner or their kid, their niece or nephew might come help with the telehealth. But some people it's overwhelming. And for a lot of people, frankly, we're also just doing a lot of phone visits. So we don't necessarily, even though it's wonderful to see your face right now, for telehealth, we don't always need to see people face to face. It can be great. And I must say, I've gotten to meet a lot of family members. For people I've worked with for years, I've been delighted to see people have said, oh, this is my child, this is my partner, these are my plants. Someone was very happy to show me their plant collection, and that's been really great to do kind of virtual home visits. But in the absence of being able to do that, we have been doing an awful lot of phone calling. And I think, the response we've gotten has been tremendous. I can't tell you, almost every phone call I have with patients ends with them just saying, thank you so much for calling. It's really good to hear from you. And I think part of what all of us struggled with, particularly in a place like New York in the spring, when we're used to being part of this incredible urban community where we walk out our door into the hallway, to our elevator, to our neighborhood, to the bodega, wherever. And we're used to seeing our friends, our neighbors just on the streets, on the stoops all the time. And I think everyone really felt that loss of connection. So I think for all of us to pick up the phone and reach out to people has been really great. And so I'll say in the STAR program at Brookdale and also at Downstate, providers have been calling people, front desk, our social workers, a lot of our team members have been just doing a lot of phone outreach to ensure, as you say, at a very basic level, people have what they need. Are we addressing people's needs? Are they out of medications? Are they safe at home? Do they have access to food if they're staying in their apartment because it's hard to go out? Is their home health aid still coming? That was an issue for a lot of people during the spring when everything was really so bad here. So we have been following up with a lot of people by telephone, and I imagine if another wave comes, we'll continue to do so. I will say at both sites, we're slowly having patients come back into the clinic now, and the numbers are really good in New York City now, and it is a safe time to come in. So, I think that's been really reassuring, and people have slowly started to come in. It's been nice to see people in the clinic again. Now we're just working to make sure we maintain good volume so the waiting room doesn't get too crowded, things like that. But certainly we're working really hard to make sure people stay connected to us and we're connected to everyone we're working with. Now still making up for lost time from the spring and in anticipation of a potential another wave in the fall and winter.
Thank you. This is so exciting. This new partnership with Brookdale. I'm so happy for our clinics. I'm so happy for Brookdale. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with us about the grant? Or, it's just so needed at this particular moment.
Yeah, just that I'm really incredibly excited. I'm excited because we have a tremendous team at Brookdale. We have such a really wonderful and dedicated staff who have worked at Brookdale, worked in HIV for years and years and years. They are dedicated, they're hardworking, they're compassionate, they're knowledgeable. They've been real patient advocates. And I'm to roll out this next phase. And exactly as we said at the beginning, it really builds on the work we've already been doing. So I think it's just a really natural outgrowth of what we're doing. And hopefully, the goal for all of this is to really benefit the community. And I think it will do that. So I'm really looking forward to keeping moving ahead as we're always doing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yeager. I would really love to have you come back and talk about some of the other initiatives that you've done. You've had a study just complete. Maybe you can share some information about that or your other projects, because the patients really, really love you, and we are so lucky to have you at STAR. You've made such an incredible impact, and I'm proud to call you a colleague. So thank you very much. And my Jedi warrior sister, that's right, fight the power. Please stay safe and healthy, and I hope to see you back on Star for Brooklyn.
Thank you. Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you.